Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark in the blue. The final boss, it's Dark. And defeating him to become a world champion, his greatest frenemy, Micro Jackson in the red. It's ByuN, a best of 5 Terran versus Zerg grand finals here on the ESL Cup. You guessed it, North America, with your North American representation provided exclusively by me. Starting things off on Post Youth. And if that's a map name or a personal attack, either way, it'd be awesome if you could like and maybe even subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we? We've talked about the Reaper every day. 1,378 likes on this video, on this cast. I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life, at least until Dark retires. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get a little bit better. Dark versus ByuN. Here we go again. Every other series between these two is some of the most inspiring gameplay. And the ones in between, well, are mostly involving ByuN forgetting how to make units that aren't Reapers, Marines, and Medevacs. Which ByuN are we getting today? It's impossible to predict, Dark. You've got your general rules, which are expect the unexpected, and there are no rules, which are 2 surprisingly strict rules. And ByuN, on the other hand, 3 command centers already. Not surprising here on a map that's so defensible. He goes for the creep tumor, gets it. All right, looks like that oncology license has been updated. ByuN, 3 CCs, and he's working to a 1-1-1 follow-up. The Destiny Cloudfist build, I've heard it called in a distant fever dream, but Cloak Banshee. Well, now build a Raven, or even better, a Battle Cruiser. Probably gonna be Cloak Banshee. He starts a Viking. Okay, well, I don't know why I try to predict these things, but a Viking certainly can have some interesting implications. In general, you don't expect Cloak Banshee after a Viking. Usually you want those Banshees out as soon as possible in order to get the max amount of damage done. But there's a lot of value in waiting so long to use them. Now, you could potentially get critical damage done because they no longer are looking for it. So the Viking will drive away the Overlords and potentially put Dark in a false sense of security where he's not expecting the Banshee to follow it up. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he just gets the Spore Crawlers either way, but double Evo Chamber from Dark. He loves his Mass Zerglings on this map. We've seen him take 4, 5, 6 bases even, really, before putting together units, as Terrans are also very greedy here. ByuN still has no other production until this exact sentence, as he's got 3 command centers and now slapping down barracks 2 and 3 as he starts Stim. So a very kind of middle of the road. Well, could you sit down, sir? Sir, where's that factory going? Okay, it's waiting for the tech lab. So patient. A bit awkward, like looking over his shoulder, but interesting. He only decides on 1 Cloak Banshee and then slaps down the factory onto the tech lab. Wants some siege tanks there, more than likely. So, ByuN got his build set up. That single Cloak Banshee has a lot on it. Dark has built Spore Crawlers. He's got him in position to deal with something like this Banshee. He's not going to let ByuN pull one over on him. He cloaks, but the ruse did not work, as Dark covered his bases, literally and figuratively. Still, though, the Banshee going to be annoying, but Dark saves a drone with the Spore Crawler, and now they're... Wow. Susan, how is this fair? Brenda, usually I'm the one complaining. Well, this is quite a role reversal. I don't... Oh, shut up. Overseer's on the way, but the Banshee recognizing only Spore Crawlers exist here as potential detection up until that Overseer completes. The Hellions threaten to dart in, but before they commit... How many Zerglings? Dark, the Hellions likely could have gotten a lot of damage done, but ByuN playing quite conservative. The threat of the Hellions and the threat they pose to both the creep tumors and just map control in general is usually more valuable than killing anything but double-digit drones. If ByuN is not confident he can get in and kill a significant portion of Dark's economy. It's much more valuable to be sitting at the edge of the creep and denying any continual spread. At least that you can get a hold of. As Dark now taking a 4th base and a 5th base, and he has a macro hatch in the main. He's got 2-2 on the way. He's going to have an upgrade advantage. Does he have Baneling speed? No. It's not. Oh, now he gets groovy spawns for the Hydralisk, as well as Baneling speed for the Banelings. Meanwhile, ByuN with an armory. So far, ByuN played a perfect game. He hasn't lost a single unit, though Dark has only lost 2 drones and 2 Zerglings and an Overlord, so it's not really that impressive. But things now have escalated. The supplies, ByuN actually up 20, as he's really worked this 3-base economy into a strong attack timing. It's 5 racks with 2 factories, so a less marine-focused and more of a mech Terran complement to back it up. The force multipliers of the siege tanks with the Hellbats protecting them from any flanks. That's part of the reason to keep those Hellions alive. But Dark now 12 Hydras on the way. Those Hydras providing the backline damage support that Lings and Banes need. Otherwise, the Marines and tanks can jam themselves into uncomfortable locations, and oh my. One Queen takes the wrong path and won't be taking any more paths ever again. ByuN just hanging out, Viking even on the ground. Infestation Pit just now on the way, but Dark looking to max out on this Lair Tech. Trying to bite some things off, but he's about 20 seconds off of the 2-2 upgrades. And if there was ever going to be an attack timing, that's it. Hydralisk speed as well as +2/+2 could crush this sad excuse for an army that ByuN has out on the map. He's going to bring 2 more medevacs out. The Banshee still poking and prodding at any outlying bases. Marines coming down, knock out one of the bases. ByuN loses whatever he had down there. Banshee finally taken down. Hatchery still intact, just bruised a bit. But that's it. There's no reason for Dark to wait anymore. All his upgrades are done. His supply near 200. There's not that much out here. The Banelings are rolling around the corner. Siege tank fire is good, but the Lings are better. Dark has an upgrade advantage, and ByuN has overstayed his welcome. And he wasn't welcome at all, so it was really hard not to do that. Dark crushes through. The Zerglings even able to compete with the Marines heads up with that 2 upgrade advantage. And Dark has a hive behind. But ByuN, 4th base is landed and then moved because he mislanded it. All right, that controller not quite accurate. And now he has to lift it up again because the Zergs are and he sits it back down. All right. Well, the push-ups gonna help grow some long-term strength, but we'll see if he has any long-term options. As ByuN getting crushed out of the midfield. Banelings rolling through. Hydras helping the Zerglings with the tanks, and Dark up 25 supply. 10 SCVs down. Hydras closing in. Banelings obliterate the rest of the Marines, and Dark just wipes him off the map in game 1. Not even particularly close. More one-sided than a Mobius strip here in game number 1 as Dark. ByuN needs to step it up 2 or 3 different notches. Or the same notches, just progressively higher, ideally. But that, is it going to be one of those days? ByuN goes back and forth with Dark. But hopefully he can pull it together, because casting a full series of that would, while be entertaining, would be not really. We can't run enough ads on that in order to make it worth it. So ByuN, pull it together. Command center first. Okay. That's certainly one interpretation of that. He did go CC first on post-youth, but that's a lot more typical. A lot less surprising, I guess. As you can protect it so easily. Oceanborn is quite a macro map. You can relatively easily defend 3 bases, but not in the same way you can post-youth. There is no ramp directly up to the natural. A Roachling bust is more than likely to break through if you're unprepared. So, now somewhat counterintuitively, going command center first is safer than a normal build. against early aggression, because you've got the command center already done. It doesn't take too long for those mules to kick in. It's just the delay on the tech that sometimes creates the greatest vulnerability. But if ByuN can survive long enough till he gets starport units out, or at least he gets to a factory or whatever amount of early units he wants, then, so usually that's around 4.5 to 5 minutes, and he's perfectly fine. In fact, he's going to have a better economy, obviously, than if he had just one Rax expanded. But Dark is going to see the command center timing, and that will prompt the question of what he wants to do about it. He's got 100 gas. He can go many different directions with that. Zergling speed is the most obvious one, but he hasn't started it yet, which... Oh, he's getting every last drone out before speed. He used every one of his larvae before going Zergling speed. It's not like he forgot it. He just realizes if your opponent's going command center first, believe it or not, they don't have barracks as quickly. There's not Reapers coming across the map. You don't need those Zerglings with their fancy vestigial wings in order to chase it down. So Dark, instead of lining up a timing to try to kill him, instead is going to be opting to out macro, knowing he has a significant amount of map control to start things off. Third base is on the way. ByuN looks like he's doing a 2-base medevac play. As he's got stim, there's the starport, reactor starts. A variation on the build that ByuN first popularized, like, at this point, like 7 years ago. 2 medevacs, 16 marines with stim, and just work from there. A build that, when executed well, is still deadly, and even when it doesn't do critical damage, is a major threat that Zergs are forced to respect. Top-tier Zergs have definitely adapted and can deal with it a lot easier, or at least more comfortably than they did back in the day. ByuN is no longer winning tournaments with just that, but it still factors in. Alright, gonna flip over the factory and the starport. A little bit better at the synchronized add-ons than they were last game. Treat that as a rehearsal. Meanwhile, though, Dark, 3 bases. I'm sure he knows the threats. A single evolution chamber on the way. Still adding more and more drones. Very importantly, ByuN just now starting a 3rd command center. So that means he's not going to have the economy. He needs to get some damage. He needs to keep some control of the situation. So these 16 marines and these 2 medevacs. Well, Dark gonna lose an Ovi. Carapace starts. More queens on the way. Three queens at a time. And Dark has 1 Zerglings on the field, which is not... well, it's better than nothing. Building 22 more now. As ByuN mostly focusing on the edge of the creep, trying to limit the spread, and most importantly, keeping Dark from getting a 4th hatchery, as that is oftentimes the focal point. 4 hatcheries is enough to build that overwhelming Zerg army we saw last game. It's enough economy to get to hive tech while building said army. 3 bases is simply not enough to do both things at once. So the 4th base is oftentimes the what the game, at least this stage of the game, hinges upon. And ByuN. Did he find an overlord to pop? He did. Gets another one. Dark, though, anticipated, has a few extra Ovies out there. He's got 11 queens. A queen moot is gathering. Happens usually at least once a series, if not more often. That Carapace upgrade, helpful against the Marines. I think he was just hedging his bets. Didn't have the resources to go for double upgrades, but now headed towards it. Baneling speed on the way, 2nd Evo chamber, but ByuN is gonna have 1-1. He's working on combat shield. He's already got the armory on the way. His SCV count not looking so bad. ByuN not looking so bad himself. Marines slurped up, not losing a single one, taking down a dozen lings so far. The Queen's voicing some severe displeasure with the medevacs, but not able to do much more than that. No Hydra Den, no Infestation Pit. Dark just spamming out units. He does have the gas. I expect to see that Tech Choice Sue DM, but surprisingly not there yet. Dark, 86 Zerglings on the field already. There's the Hydra Den. 4th base in production, and ByuN sends out another group of Marines. I think it's partially these two respecting each other so much they're not... I'm saying that, but I think of all the series where they both just continually all at each other, so... Respect is there, but it has nothing to do with the playstyle. It just happened to shake out this way. ByuN with the double-double. Drops on the left, and at the back right now. Working on 2-2. This time around, ByuN will have the upgrade advantage, which certainly dictated the pace of the previous game. Double drop. Mainling nest in a bit of an awkward spot, though easily protected. Siege tank count is growing. He's up to 4, building another factory and 3 more racks. So ByuN scaling up that late game production. The Queen's pushing away the medevacs. And just still playing defense. Still no Infestation Pit from Dark, which was true right when I started the sentence, but now, here we are. $11 Hydras on the way. But so far, we're in for a repeat, at least unit composition-wise. The notable difference, incredibly important difference, are the upgrades. ByuN will have his +2 upgrades completed. So he should be able to compete on the field much more realistically. The Queens holding it together. And ByuN taking his 4th base. Dark taking his 5th. As they still... Ooh, medevac. To be very careful. We'll drop out. Lurker Den on the way alongside that hive. So looking at that late game swarm composition that Dark makes look so incredible. Like a swarm of incredibly massive and deadly bees is Dark's favored playstyle lately. Just attacking from every single angle and then some. Literally up, down, and all around. Nidus, Overlord drops, run-bys. Whatever it takes. Wow, these tanks lining the edges. Wherever they can put their back or whatever anthropomorphized parts to something, they will. Every single tank is in some way lined up against like a corner or a wall or jammed in there, looking like a campaign mission from ByuN, who's already adding on ghosts. He's got concussive shells. And there's the Nidus out of Dark. As we're 10 minutes in, it's been about as close as you can get at this level to a no-rush 10-minute game. ByuN did lose 2 medevacs and 23 Marines. Dark has lost 50 Zerglings, but chump change in the grand scheme of things. Here come the Vipers. Burrow adrenal glands. Dark still hurting from forgetting that in some key matches lately, as almost every Zerg has done at one point or another. +1 ranged attack is now complete, but the late game unit compositions have come together. So expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. It's Marines left behind. 3-3 not yet started for ByuN. Try to get that sentence out very quickly because I think he's going to start it almost, oh, the next moment he gets. But they're both maxed out. Dark with 112 Zerglings. There's the 3-3 from ByuN. Dark with Lurker range completing. Dark with Adrenal Glands nearly there and +2 melee. Sensor towers are coming up. Dark is expanding to the rest of the bases. As ByuN puts up sensor towers. He's got coverage on the right side of the map, but sensor tower on the left might spot the hatchery that Dark is currently building there. And sitting back. Still building up. The creep spread now extending over the vast majority of dark side of the map and into ByuN's. I wish we had a creep percentage in terms of land area. Get over here! Oh, he wasted a second of duck. Just kill confirmed. Hydras take out the medevacs. There's something much more visceral about pulling the medevac into the Hydras. Well, one, it's cheaper on energy, but two, parasitic bomb, just not as dramatic. Are you kidding me right now? 64 banelings! Simultaneously, and I think that's all the gas he had. Dark, with the biggest baneling bust. I mean, he now has 71 banelings on the field. There are now more banelings there's 14 siege tanks, more banelings than marines, but that's not necessarily a good thing. And here we go, blinding cloud on absolutely everything the planetary's trying to hold. Yanks a tank in. I don't know if that's actually helping. Blast through the planetary. The baneling count is cut down. 25 remain. A successful attack in some senses, but a costly one as well. He was able to break the planetary fortress, but we have to ask the age-old question: at what cost? +3 carapace is done, but Brenda, get back to the creep! How many times? Shut up, Karen. I do what I want. +3/+3's on the way. Or about to be completed, rather, for ByuN, which means he might be able to turn things around. Infestors... Okay, no. Infestation Pit researching neural parasite. There's currently 5 orbital commands, but 3 more command centers are in production for ByuN. So, mass orbital, and here comes another round. The lurkers are dunked down. He's got 11 of them, doing the full 300 supply Zerg tech switches. 2 more factories are on the way for ByuN, but they're not up in time to stop Dark from just ripping this base to shreds. Whoa. Okay, that was dangerously close. He doesn't have building armor. He's working on high-sec auto-tracky as well now. Ghost getting eviscerated. 108 Zerglings in production. Dark has lost only 185 so far. He's looking to... Those are rookie numbers. And Dark is no first-timer here. Transfuses. The lurkers from the right. The lings and banes from the left. The hatcheries everywhere else. Here comes Dark yet again. Another wave. Crushing the command centers. The SCVs hugging each other trying to repair. They're dead in the process. The tank's not even all siege. He doesn't need Vipers. Crushes another base. 32 SCVs down, but ByuN holds. A Nidus on top of where he wants to rebuild a command center. There's 14 ghosts, 14 siege tanks. The core of the army for ByuN is incredibly hard to beat, and that's why Dark is working around the edges, trying to just slowly but surely chip away at ByuN's economy so he could eventually whittle down the army. But even though Dark has 5,000, well now 4,000 minerals in the bank, they're even on gas, 800 apiece, which is not really enough to sustain losing this many banelings and lurkers and hydras. Actually, he's only lost 2 hydras and 4 lurkers. Dark is actually insanely good about that. It's hard to tell in the midst of the fights, but he's so good at keeping these core units alive. The lings and banes are made to be thrown away, but the hydras are ideally forever. But the siege tanks, oh, where are the Vipers? That's way too many siege tanks, Dark. Oh my. He crushes through the planetary, but it costs him a huge amount of his banelings to do so. And I said, oh, he still only lost 3 more hydras. I don't know, it feels like Dark's hydras just, instead of dying, they just burrow and then unburrow a minute later, fully healed. The lurkers, oh, they get the ghosts. He doesn't have cloak done. Gets a few more ghosts as Dark comes in yet again. And didn't finish off all the lurkers. What he doesn't kill definitely will continue to hurt him. A Viper gets sniped out of the sky. Vikings moving to defend. Dark coming in from the right flank. The siege tanks are clumped up. Their own worst enemy. The Zerglings overrun them. Dark has how many bases? He's got 10 bases. Well, 10 hatcheries, 9 bases, I think, in total. ByuN is in his quadrant, desperately trying to hold, but in one of the most Zerg games since the last time I watched Dark play, Dark has consumed the map and is now consuming his hatcheries in order to refill those Vipers. But ByuN holds relatively strongly, and it's not like Dark has a ton of money in the bank. He cannot just rebuild this army indefinitely, though he can for a while yet. If ByuN gets one particularly good fight, the momentum could shift. But so far, Dark has done a great job of keeping it in his corner. Lining up some more shots. The Ghost not doing so great, but Dark plummets 70 supply. ByuN stays about even. It looked bad, but that fight. Dark actually ends up killing 1,000 gas, but only 1,300 minerals. ByuN kills 3,450, 600, but ByuN also killed one of his own tanks and ghosts with his own tanks. 17 swarm hosts. Dark makes the swarm host switch. Sir Richard and his merry band of swarm host brethren will try to rain down locusts and do what the Lings and Banes cannot. Which, we've seen Dark try this style against ByuN, and it didn't work, but it looked like a good idea at the time. He's so good about constantly throwing out those locusts without any downtime. And he's got Nidus networks all over the map. And by that I mean he's got like 2 or 3 of them, but this refinery's still burning. Dark has so much here. But the locusts, where are the swarm hosts? Where are the swarm hosts? They're in the Nidus. Okay, that's why I couldn't find them. Hiding. Because the only way to hide your units from scan is in the Nidus. As right now, ByuN, he has 7 orbital commands, but the swarm hosts are raining down. There's so many of them. They are free units. He does have +3 everything. Parasitic Bomb quarantines the medevacs, though not quite perfectly. Trying to take this hatchery. Dark has not really mined much of it. It's just kind of holding a position. Nearly 100 creep tumors on the map. Another Parasitic Bomb. Brings it home. The SCVs will repair, though. Saving the day. The siege will continue. ByuN nearly maxed out. He's getting +3 mech weapons here. Hellbat's quite a useful tool against the Locusts as well. The Vikings trying to do what they can. Drops down onto the planetary, but the siege tank's helping just as much as the Locusts are doing damage. The Locusts get wiped out, but a planetary removed. And Dark siege will continue. So far, Dark only losing 7,000 more minerals in these exchanges, which is quite an impressive feat considering he's facing the extreme Turtle Terran. He comes out of the Nidus, but he's got a Spine Spore setup with some lurkers to help interrupt. Adding another Nidus in as those... I mean, he could have just stayed in the Nidus and unloaded them at home, but he wanted to play it safe. The Zerglings headed for the main, not quite gonna find it. Oh, wait, what? He just left the door open. Even a changeling in there. A Nidus into the natural. And ByuN can't spend a lot of time going home because the swarm hosts are just waiting for their opportunity to throw down another wave of locusts. Raining in. There's so many siege tanks. He drops down to the siege tanks. Do Dark's work for him. 14 SCVs dead. Scans all over the place, and it's still not enough. Because as you know, Terrans would rather cut off their mother's left hand than build a Raven. Another Nidus in the main. Oh, a changeling! Ah, it was hiding by the barracks. The changeling. Wow, that was actually an incredibly smart idea. Using what a lot of Terrans do with their Widow Mines against him. The swarm house, another wave. The tanks are so clumped up here. Dark just drops it down. And that is just constant constant value. He hasn't killed a single swarm house. Dark is so insanely good at keeping his key units alive. He's lost only 5 Hydras and 0 swarm hosts. He has lost 15 lurkers, but I'm realizing he uses lurkers like Lings and Banes as expendable tools in order to accomplish objectives. Other units, which have less of a direct impact, are used as like long-term value, like the Hydras, the Vipers, and in this case, the Swarm House. But here come the Lings to cover underneath, and those tanks in a precarious position. The tanks are actually jammed so close together that the Swarm Host can't, the Locust can't easily swoop down in that area. Trying to reposition the Spine Crawler migration, the Giraffe migration. And here come the Lurkers. You can't snipe Spine Crawlers, even though it looked like you could for a moment there. Maybe next patch, if Dark gets too good at this. Oh my. Oh golly. Ghost getting impaled. Oh, pummeled by the Spine Crawlers. And the tentacles rip their hearts out. 10k, 5k in the bank as Dark continues the siege. But ByuN is nearly maxed out. He's got 20 siege tanks. He's building Liberators now, of which Swarm Hosts have really nothing against. Dark has 5k in the bank, though. And that's a good wave of Locusts. Gets 1, 2, 3 tanks. Maybe a few random bio units in there, too. Oh, Dark. The command center's being overrun by the creep. Zerglings find more tanks. Lings and Banes into the mineral line. And it's not like ByuN has a lot of SCVs to spare, and even less now. Down to 30. And the Overseers overhead. Another thing. Well, okay, he's lost 12 Overseers. I was like, he's been so good about it, but then I saw the number. Hydras. And ByuN is just bleeding out. He has been behind on income besides probably one massive mule drop in that canyon there. The army size has been near equivalent. But ByuN, he's building more command centers. He has 7 orbitals. Command centers seem optimistic, though I think he started building them when he wasn't quite so broke. But Dark continues the siege. The Swarm Host as an actual viable tactical option. Snipes, he dodges the snipes with the Nidus, of all things. Still, not a single... The Swarm Hosts have been on the field for going on 10 minutes. And not a single one has died. Unfortunately, Locusts don't show up in the units lost. I'd love to know how many were thrown out. Obviously, they all die one way or another. But he sent out 5, 6, 7 waves of Locusts. And are still unchallenged. Another Nidus in the natural. Dark starting to overrun the front with creep. Oh my. More ghosts. Dark is just... He's coming apart. ByuN cannot escape the Boa Constrictor Zerg. The ghosts will snipe. They fight back. The Hydras are rebuilt in order to refill that lurker count. But where are the Swarm Hosts? Oh no! Ricky! I can't believe... Like, another wave. Just drops a few down. Don't waste them all. They have short lives. Might as well make use of them. Drops down to the center. It goes okay. Still, not a single Swarm Host lost. 669 Zerglings in this incredibly nice display of top-tier late-game Zerg. I have not seen anyone else in the world make Swarm Hosts work against this sort of unit composition. But Dark, just the excruciating, inexorable pressure, and ByuN is crumbling under it. The Ghosts get a few shots off. He may kill another base, but Dark can rebuild dozens of hatcheries if needed. The Swarm Hosts again. Another wave. Dark actually manages to get supply blocked. But ByuN, he still has a ton of army supply. This army is starting to make real progress. The main base itself under fire. Dark does have to deal with this. It's just Ghosts and Marines. Mainling should be enough. He has the option for infestors. Dark was actually supply blocked, is why he wasn't building anything here. Ah, parasitic bomb on multiple medevacs. Gonna be very hard to quarantine those. Oh no, 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 he's looking the wrong way, loses a few more. Dark has only 20 larvae. Okay, wait a second. ByuN, okay, builds 3 Hydras and 30 more Zerglings, but he's actually out of larvae. 14 lurkers. ByuN has almost no income. Dark pops a drone out to take another hatchery. The swarm host, he just 1 set for that single SCV, because you don't want to waste all of the locusts on it. Another wave of locusts. He drops it down and he kills another tank. But ByuN refuses to die. Dark will. He's attempting to help him along. And this is the only base with mineral patches left for ByuN, down to the south side. At the, we'll call it 10 o'clock. "27 minutes. ByuN, a testament to his tenacity. But Dark has not let up. GG! The main base overrun. Dark never really outright... Okay, he definitely won some battles. But he was never able to kill the real core of the army. But it didn't matter. ByuN taps out with 133 army supply. And no hope. As Dark crushes through. 2-0. Match point for the final boss. Looks like he's refining that late game style. And just in time for the World Cup coming up. But the swarm... Wait, he didn't lose a single swarm host. I didn't check at the very end, but I didn't see any swarm host die. Literally infinite value. All right, invest in Dark swarm host today. He's so good about keeping choice units alive. It's prioritization. Like, he'll throw away 100 Zerglings to save 1 swarm host. And that suits his purposes just fine. I don't even know where ByuN went wrong there. But he certainly didn't go right. He used that same kind of siege tank mass ghost style as his son Clem. And he died in a similar way. Under the relentless pressure. Maybe more liberators. It's just so intimidating to face Dark's death by 1,000 locusts. Alright, Dark is essentially a biblical plague, or series of plagues, of... In fact, that would be a very helpful ability as well, but... Alright. Ah, yes. I had a notification on my phone that said it's time to like and subscribe. Or something like that, I'm paraphrasing. You guys have phones. Side Delta. Still recovering from that. I was wondering, I've seen multiple times when ByuN is able to survive and turn it around with just perfect control of the most deadly army composition. But Dark, he researched Neural Parasite, I want to point out. And never built a single infester. That Reaper, just like it owns the place. Kinda does, actually. Well, gets 2. And gets out. Flips on over to the reactor. Gonna be a 1-1-1. 3 CC for ByuN. Dark. Zergling speed on the way. Now where do you go? Like, ByuN has not played poorly. It's just Dark has overrun him. Feels like he's leveled up even more somehow. And continues to do so. He's peaking when it matters most. Right. He's playing the best StarCraft 2 of his whole career. Weeks before the biggest tournament in StarCraft 2 history. And remember, he's the reigning GSL champion. He beat Maru quite convincingly. Sure, the matches were close, but Dark clearly had the edge. So, really, it comes down to whether or not Dark is capable of defeating Cyril, is what I'm really feeling like as we go into it. We're still pretty far out, and they are on completely different sides of the group stage. So, it is not unlikely that they won't see each other until close to the finals, if not the finals. Assuming they get there, which I don't think is a unlikely assumption. Roach, Ling all in though. Bringing us back to the present. A present for ByuN, though not one that he's excited about. Mass roaches. So Dark slipped by, but it is a Banshee on the way. And those Banshees? The best possible defense against this. At least at this stage. Well, the best possible defense is like 3 bunkers staggered on the high ground. But if you don't see it coming, the best possible defense is having that Banshee to slowly but surely whittle it down. Thankfully for ByuN, he's such a greedy goose that he actually expanded to the 3rd, which will scout the roaches moments before they hit the natural. The Zerglings are coming. Here come the Hellions. This actually looks like it's going... That's not enough. 2 Banshees, actually. ByuN didn't dilly-dally around this time. He built multiple Banshees. He did not get a Viking. No Liberator, no Medevac. Straight to double Banshee. And Dark just built like 20 drones. Realizing he didn't even show the Zerglings. He built the Zerglings angling to kill the Hellions and then bring the Zerglings in for a deadly attack. But the Zerglings didn't have that opportunity. The Cloak Banshee, Spore Crawler not done yet, which means Dark will be losing 6, 7, 8 drones. And there's no detection here, so these Banshees are just going to continue chewing through. You can work around the edges of the Spore. God, that Banshee micro is so good. And you get from the high ground. Oh my god. The lair's not done yet. ByuN, 55 SCVs. Ravagers out here. Oh, he tried to get through with a corrosive bile, but will that one be enough? No, the SCV saves the day. The Zerglings. But ByuN's ready for it. Like, Dark. He tried to end it outright here. And this time around, ByuN will definitely take the better end. He's going to have a full upgrade advantage. He's literally going to be done with 1-1 by the time Dark can even start it. He has plenty of army on the field. Medevac's done. Infrastructure already created. Whereas Dark is trying to catch up in workers and get any tech online. So while Dark and his killer instinct have been a decisive factor in the game so far, a swing and a miss in Game 3 when it comes to the Roach All-In. And now it's ByuN's turn to strike back. Dark is supply blocked, and he's down in army supply. Not ideal, to say the least. The Banshee's still protecting from the Rumbais at home. Another Overlord dies. Dark is forced to build Overlords with the limited economy he has before even adding any more units. The Zerglings trying to come in, but the Marine count on the reinforcements is just still too high. Siege tanks jammed into position. We got some Roach, Ravager, and a Hydroden on the way. But ByuN just stimming and winning. Doesn't even have combat shield done. Doesn't really need it. as he chases it. A couple more Ravagers down, but the supply block slowed down any reinforcements so much. The Banshees are here. Whatever happened to that siege tank? It looks like the Zerglings took it out. But ByuN maintains a 20 supply lead against Roaches, which bodes ill. And down goes the hatch. Dark does have an alternative up to the north side. He's started a hive. If he's gonna get anything done, it's maybe rushing to lurkers. He's not. He still has 67 drones. He took that hatchery up to the north side. It's already done, which I think ByuN may be surprised at because Dark is so clearly limited. No lurker den started. Even a couple Vipers can make the difference, but otherwise there's no point in going to hive. Certainly has to be Vipers. But can Dark survive long enough to get there? Banshee's still going to work. 17 kills. But get off my creep, you murderer! Oh, okay, Brenda. I mean, 17 kills is kind of on us. Shut up, Terran. I don't... Sorry. 1-1 now completed, so best possible timing for Dark to fight. That's so many. ByuN is not intimidated. Sidesteps most of the corrosive bile. Guns down the queens. Lurker den is started. Drop drag some of the units away. Base can get targeted down. GG. ByuN strikes back. A comfortable victory. Shuts down the Roach Ravager, or the Roachling, or whatever attempt of all-in it was, and strikes back with a coherent and overwhelming timing. Dark took his shot to end it with a clean sweep, and ByuN easily deflects. Going to game 4. And ByuN not going to be bested that easily. We'll see if Dark takes another shot at him. Or if he sits back and macros up. Because, honestly, those matches have not looked close. Or at least, it feels like ByuN has no hope. Past a certain point, Dark has just consumed too much of the map and will not let it go. It's going to be Reaper opener. He is on the more comfortable side of the map where the add-ons are not as exposed. Doesn't necessarily mean Dark won't try to punish it, but ByuN, the pioneer, the grandfather, and the infamous Reaper player. Possibly the only player in StarCraft 2 history to directly get a unit nerfed. Not once, but twice. Some might argue any nerfs to Zerg are nerfs at Serral, but less obviously. So for those who don't know, the Reaper the grenade used to do twice as much damage, 10 damage, which means only 4 grenades could kill a Zergling. 3 grenades would leave it 1 shot away from death. It also used to have a 7-second cooldown. It's now 14. So he literally cut the grenade damage and cooldown were both reduced. The cooldown doubled and the damage cut in half because ByuN just kept building Reapers until finally Marines. And after that is when, after the Reapers were nerfed, is when he developed the 2-1-1 medevac, double medevac 16 Marine stim build. But you run into a lot of other issues if you're going to nerf Marines, of all things. And it isn't quite as oppressive as the Reapers were, because by the time the medevacs come out, you do have a lot more options than against, well, those early Reapers. One Zergling dies. He builds a total of 2 of them, and then works his way in to 3 CC. He's going to lift a Rex, which is widely considered a dick move in many cultures, but is quite effective here. And Dark actually a little supply blocked off it. Has an OV on the way, but that is quite annoying as a Zerg. Zergling speed closing in. The Reapers dart in, seeing what they can get. Command center now completed. Third base halfway there. For both... no, Dark's third is about to complete. And Stim. And it's going to be Medivacs with Stim Marines. If it ain't broke. Factory's on the way. Setting up a potential wall on the high ground. Another of my many pet peeves is Terrans who will do something like walling off the front and then never bother to wall the ramp in the main. Like, never. Well, if Zerglings get by, it's already over. But then we're 30 minutes in the game and 20 Zerglings get in because they never bothered to wall, and it actually loses them the game even though it's easily preventable. Not that I'm talking about any specifics. Dark pokes in, sees enough to inspire some more drones, but also a few more langs. Evo chambers. One Evo chamber starts. One already started for ByuN. So going for a very heavy marine composition to the surprise of only people who've woken up from a coma and have never seen StarCraft 2 before and only saw Brood War, where 90% of the time it ended up being mech against her. But even then, in Brood War, I believe it was Marines and medics for quite a while into the game. And then things like siege tanks, which is kind of the same thing here, so. And if you count the ghosts, kind of like science vessels in order to help support and dismantle things. Not quite the same, but kind of similar as a late game support role. Ah yes, bring back a Radiate. Oh, the Reapers will try to jimmy their way out of it, but Jimmy never gets out of anything for long. 16 more drones on the way. Plus one Carapace for Dark. We'll be starting that Banling nest momentarily. Really exploding the drone count. 61 drones. The Medivacs are on the field. It's time to lay the pressure on. Zerglings pick a few Marines on the outside, the one inside, saying his prayers. The Queens. Brenda, Susan, call everyone. Lucille, Edna, get all away from the hatchery. You're making it weird. The Queen's the only real defense here, but there's a lot of transfuse energy. The Zerglings slipping around now that one of the Queens is dead. Targeting down. It's one of the Medivacs, but the Marines are not dying. They've got 1-1 done. They're gunning down the Queens. One, two, that's it. They're all dead. Oh my. ByuN stands tall and guns down the Zerg. And that's two. And yet again, we go to game number 5. ByuN finds his timing and slices through, tearing apart any Zerg stand to get his way. Wow. Well, here we go again. Another game 5, and I'm going to give you one guess as what map this game 5 is going to be on. You probably, and hopefully, have watched and enjoyed some of the great finals over the last. And yes, we have multiple finals a week. You're like, Winter, you can't just have a finals every day. It's like, well, technically there's 3 weekly cups and other multiple. There's like 5 or 6 pretty high-profile finals per week. So technically we could have a not the point. If you've watched any of them, if you've liked and subscribed to any of them, then you can pause and think about it. What map is it going to be? Yep. Amphion. Game number 5. Here we go. Dark versus ByuN. Dark with some decisive macro games, but ByuN not one to let an advantage slip, using it to cut through 2 games in a row and tie things up. And it all comes down to this. Will Dark reclaim that momentum? Or does ByuN carry it through to the finish line? Yeah. Literally. So, we just watched Clem play against Solar not too long ago, where he did exactly the same thing against Solar, where it looked like we were spooling up for a big macro game, getting all the bases, getting all the economy, and then Clem just hits the stims, micros, and wins. Like father, like son. We'll see, though. Clem also struggling against Dark in long macro games. Will Dark, what does he need to adjust to survive against such reckless hate? I mean, Terran. Well, kind of redundant. Three hatch. No gas. He did get the Overlord Scout before committing to it, so he knows he's not up against the Mass Reaper opener. It is a 1-Rax expand. Just a single Reaper on its path explicitly for it. But the Zergling counter! Oh no. Does he cancel and slap down? No, it's too late for the add-on. He's gonna get on top of the Marine. And the SCVs in an awkward spot. They catch one, and he gets the Marine. The Reaper's coming back home, but another SCV dead. He's gonna try to delay the factory. Another Marine comes out. The Zerglings tripping over each other to try to kill it. Another SCV, and another one. 4 kills. Almost gets the one building the factory. 4 kills, and a long delay on the command center. 6 brave Zerglings on a one-way trip to ByuN's base. Get critical damage. I would call that far more than Dark could have expected. Delaying the command center, yes. Killing an SCV or 2, maybe? Yes. 4 SCVs? Really? Really, ByuN? You know an Overlord's there, right? Is he trying to bait him into something? Why would you build it there? Is he going to use that to mine through the mineral? Why there? Why give him that information? That is either a incredibly bold and or foolish gambit. He knows the Overlord is there. There is... I do not understand why you would build the command center knowingly directly under the Overlord. Why not leave him guessing? The mind is boggled. The flabbers are gasted. But ByuN, who gets off to a uncomfortable start, fumbling the early defense, is now going to give Dark all the information he needs to play out the next couple minutes of the game. Quite a series, though. So far, it hasn't been the most dramatic. I mean, we've had dramatic games, but they've all trended in the same direction the whole time. Not every series can be back and forth on a knife's edge. The Overlord will spot another barracks in production, which... Wait, no, is that the starport? No. Another barracks in production, which gives Dark a good idea of what he's dealing with. He's actually a little supply block from losing the scouting OB, which is, actually a little embarrassing, but he got the info. 50 drones and counting. He is using it to mine through, but is that really necessary, ByuN? 10 more drones on the way. The evolution chambers are going to be behind ByuN's upgrades, but not nearly as far behind as previous games. Maybe about 30 seconds, as those upgrades take the same amount of time. The tension mounts again, but ByuN, last game just cutting through. They're both working on the mineral wall side of things. Couple more rags on the way. Full on macro. But I refuse to get lulled into a false sense of security, and hopefully Dark doesn't either. He's got 20 lings on the way. He's not getting greedy. Well, he is getting 3 more hatcheries at a time, but like otherwise not getting too greedy. Making sure he has enough Zerglings, though he needs to start that Baneling nest in like 3... Yep. Baneling nest starts, lined up with the lair finishing, so we can start Baneling speed as soon as possible. Banelings before speed are target practice for ByuN and his son. But here come the Marines. And Dark actually didn't have any vision on this side, which will hurt him in the himself about it. But there's a lot of Zerglings on the field. He's just going to let it go. That's why he expanded to the other side as well, keeping his options open. If he gets both, great. But just one is still good. The Zerglings looking to overrun the Queens. Dark waited until ByuN was in a spot where he couldn't easily slip around towards the main. He will re-spread the creep here. Armory, a little bit late to start those 2-2 upgrades, so Dark will catch up slightly. One medevacs on the way. Dark actually up 20 supply. 46 more lings. 71 drones in total. Infestation pit is on the way. 1-1 will complete for Dark. And he waits a full second before starting those 2-2 upgrades. So ByuN's upgrade lead thins to about 5 seconds. We now have 3 more barracks on the way. The Octo Rex is coming together. ByuN with the Marines. Looking for another round. Lings and Banes, a hive has begun. No Hydra Den. Just a sprint to hive. And I love that he put his tech at the 3rd, which is probably the safest base. And one that doesn't become obsolete at like the 10-minute mark when you start mining out. But Dark with a massive counterattack. He's got dozens of Banelings lined up, rallying more units to defense, but Banelings on both sides of the map. ByuN has no info on this. A single Zergling spots it with the siege tanks. ByuN doesn't actually realize this is happening. He does now, but target fire hits a big swath of the Banelings, but not nearly enough of them. As coming in with more Lings and Banes, the target fire isn't there. He's in the mineral line. He's gonna kill at least a dozen SCVs, and then some. 13 dead. ByuN, half his army's on the other side of the map. Dark swings in with critical damage. SCVs pulled to fight Zerglings yet again. And they're actually kind of winning against him, as there weren't that many Lings to deal with. 26 SCVs slaughter. Dark has burrowed done. ByuN trying to move forward, but he was caught on the back foot, and then he got that foot cut off by the Zerglings. Burrow already being done. Ultralisk Cavern is on the way. Both sides gonna have upgrades at a similar timing. The Zerglings unburrow, but there are so many everywhere. I don't even know if he realized he unburrowed at the 3rd. And now Dark is up 40 supply. Another wave into the natural. ByuN is stalled out on his attack. He has to retreat with the SCVs. The Marines should be enough for now. 8 seconds. ByuN is going to try to use an upgrade advantage, but it's going to evaporate much like this army as the Banelings crash in. And Dark, well, he has to beat one more army. The siege tanks in a good position, but there's not that many Marines behind. The choke point, though, very difficult to deal with. The Zerglings at the natural. He's going to finish +1 vehicle weapons right before he loses the armory. ByuN, this is all he has left. Banelings crashing in. The Queen's driving away the medevacs. And JJ Dark swings back with a decisive counterattack. He drives through the natural, kills the economy, forces ByuN into a terrible fight, and crushes him during it. Dark 3, ByuN 2. Another one for the final boss in another finals. And quite a fun one as well. Though quite a roller coaster too, with the ByuN games there in the middle. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully it made your day just a little bit better. If you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. And if you haven't checked out the second channel, Winter Gaming TV, I know, very original, here on YouTube, well, that's where most of the content for Stormgate, which is releasing into early access next week as of this video, will be. We'll still have a few videos on this channel, but it's called Winterstarcraft, so it's going to be focused on that for now. I don't see that changing for the foreseeable future if we continue as is. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to check out that second channel if you haven't yet, and otherwise, I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun, stay chill.